what do you do when you run out of ideas? Well, hi there. That might be too strong a term. I can't say I've actually run out of ideas, but the problem is that when I look back at the videos I've shot over the last couple of years, I seem to have hit on most of the areas that I may have some useful knowledge to pass on. I could just make this into another opinion piece, which is probably what it's going to end up being anyway. But then again, opinions are, well, you know what opinions are like. Everybody has one. So, where does that leave me? Well, I took some notes over the last couple of days, not really for this video, but just my observations. One of the things that came to mind was the fact that we are at a really important point in the technology of photography. Between the fact that smartphone cameras have become so good that basically the entry-level market for fixed lens cameras, the point-and-shoot cameras, is pretty much a dead issue now. The high-end point-and-shoot cameras, they'll hang on for a while yet because they do offer higher resolution, better optics, cleaner images, and portability. So for people traveling and so on, they're still going to be a valid device to take with them. The interchangeable lens camera, of course, has become a far more specialized device now because it's basically just for people who need the flexibility to go to other focal lengths, in particular telephoto focal lengths, because of course even though we can manage to get some decently wide angles out of a phone and additional lenses to add to your phone to increase the angle of view, don't mess with the image quality too much, but telephoto ones do. So we still need those long telephoto lenses for sports, wildlife, and so on. So we still need these cameras. But they are now basically the realm of those of us who are serious about photography. The casual person, not so much. But as this technology moves forward, pretty much every camera company of consequence has either brought out a new model or a significant firmware upgrade for their existing models, and people can do nothing but complain about it. Now, I mentioned this in an earlier video. In an earlier video, I talked about the fact that, let's stop complaining about things. But, let's look at the other side of that coin for a moment. Let's look at the strengths of all of these new cameras. Okay, let's start with the Fujifilm Xt3. What are its strengths? Much improved autofocus capability. It still has a marvelous user interface that is reminiscent of film cameras of days gone by, or a modern-day Leica M series for that matter. A great set of lenses, and being an APS-C camera, a reasonable size. Notice I didn't point out any of the negatives. They're all available online. The Canon EOS-R. There's one that gets picked on quite a bit. Okay, I will say one negative. I still don't get that touch bar. But look at the positives. One of the best autofocus systems for face detection, and a fully articulated screen. So it could be a vlogger's delight, especially if that vlogger is going to be shooting in 1080p. 4K, then you've got a crop issue, and we're talking about needing very short focal lengths. But let's get to 4K for just one moment, and let's clean up one thing. Most of the big Hollywood films these days are shot on cameras like the Arri Alexa. Typically, they are shot in 2.8K or 3.2K. In other words, you're going into a theater, and on that huge screen, you're watching an image that is lower resolution, absolute resolution, than what your 4K pocket camera shoots. So let's not let 4K be too big a boogaboo here. I think the main reason a lot of people shoot in 4K is just so they can zoom and pan in post-processing to change the look of their videos, which is a valid point. But does everybody need that? No. So let's not get too upset. The Nikon twins, the Z6 and Z7. Yes, the autofocus is maybe not up to snuff yet, but these are the best built mirrorless cameras out there. I mean, probably the only thing that matches them at all is something like a Leica SL, which is quite a sturdy piece of kit. So you've got excellent build quality. You have the best, one of the best viewfinders. I have to qualify that now because apparently the one that's coming out in the Panasonics might even be better. One of the best viewfinders, and spectacular image quality. Well, sounds good to me. Any little issues with focusing or anything like that? Well, look at what you've got. If you're a Nikon shooter and you've got a closet full of Nikon lenses, it's a no-brainer. I mean, this is the camera that will allow you to get into mirrorless and use those old lenses because the adapter will work. All right. Let's see, we've taken care of the big two, we've taken care of the upstart. Now let's take a look at the others. Panasonic, a bold move, partnering with Leica and Sigma to come up with a new full-frame system, especially since their Micro Four Thirds cameras, like the GH5, are probably one of the most used video cameras out there. So to come up with a whole new system, it's bold. Panasonic is a mirrorless company now. Panasonic is just upping their game by putting a bigger sensor in and basically moving forward with the rest of technology. It's still a question mark because it's not out yet. It's just out in pre-production. The actual production model with the finalized firmware is not on the market yet. But definitely a camera to watch. Now, does it have negatives? Of course it does. We're not going to talk about them here. In fact, I've already talked about a couple of negatives that I should have kept my mouth shut about, but I didn't say it. Where does that leave us? The Olympus OMD EM1X. First of all, a lot of people are seeing it as a replacement for the EM1 Mark II. Guys, it's not that. The EM1 Mark II is an all-arounder, as I said before. This is the original EM1, and it is an all-arounder. It's a camera that you can use for all sorts of different things. The EM1X is very much in the same mold as something like a Canon 1DX or a Nikon 5D. These are cameras that are meant for fast action. They're made extra rugged for use in bad environments. They're a little extra heavy to work better with big, heavy lenses. So wildlife photographers, sports photographers, these are the people that will be after these cameras. And I think the OMD EM1X simply gives that option to someone who's in the Micro Four Thirds realm. If that is your system of choice, now you have an option that will get you into, other genres of photography you weren't in before. I've probably left somebody out, but if I have, big deal. I mean, Sony didn't come out with a new camera recently, but they did come up with new firmware that makes their autofocus system work even better. So they're still in the game. I'm a Pentax shooter primarily. Pentax worries me sometimes. When they come out with something, it's an exceptionally good product, but not exceptionally exciting, for the simple reason that Pentax, I think, are at a point where their ability to innovate is hampered by simple dollars and cents. Don't let us forget that Pentax was basically the only other manufacturer that was making in-body stabilization early in the digital SLR era. I mean, Sony had it because, of course, they inherited it from Minolta with their early digital SLRs. Olympus went that route, but Pentax was in there at that time. So they're not to be completely written off, but I just kind of sit back and see what happens. All right, guys, that was a ramble. I've just been wasting your time for God knows how many minutes. And all I can say is, if you like this video, give me a like. If you want to see more of my videos, subscribe to this channel. And if you want to comment on this video and let me know what sort of things you think I might be able to do a good job of presenting, let me know. I mean, remember, I'm not going to be a camera reviewer unless you want to send me an old antique and say, could you review this camera? Which I've already had one viewer do quite a few months back. You might remember the old Nikon Coolpix that I showed here in one of my earlier videos. Well, now I'm rambling, so now it's time to quit. Bye for now.